So long ago in the mid 2000s, there was a toy store called Toys R Us. I know, right? It's kind of weird. Who's ever heard of a place called Toys R Us? It's long gone, I'm afraid. But back in the mid 2000s, they released a Batman 2-pack. I think it was just in like a generic Batman line. And it had this Batman and this Robin. And there's a version of this Robin where it's like normal Robin colors, but the more common version to find is metallic blue Robin. And if you know me, blue's my favorite color, and I mean, I really wanted the Batman, so I decided to just get the set, because why not? Metallic blue Robin's kind of neat, and this Batman is also really great. But yeah, it's just a Toys R Us 2-pack of Batman and Robin. That's pretty much what you look up. I mean, it's not DCUC, it's not DC superheroes. It's kind of from that generic Batman line. But it's really cool. Unfortunately, this Batman is kind of older, and it's not super great. And they did actually reuse this Batman sculpt. And I don't know which one came first. Let's just say it shares the same body and all that as the DC Superheroes Wave 1 Detective Batman. And that one was very light garish blue and had a plastic cape. This one's obviously black with a black bat symbol with no yellow around it, with a pouch belt, with a nice big cloth cape. So I like it a lot off the bat. It's also pretty articulated too, but we're oh my gosh, a little bit of a burp there. We're going to get into that, but first let's remove the figures and talk about the base. So the box is not really anything to write home about, but the base, it's really cool. This is kind of just the backing of the package. You have a Batman logo right there, very classic looking. And then you have kind of like a brick wall with, I guess, a light shining in front of Batman and Robin. I don't know why. It's not like the bat signal or anything. It's just a light, and then you can see the shadow of Batman and Robin. Oddly enough, in the package, Batman, he has this like wide open hand, and he's just kind of holding the Batarang like that, which is really odd. And they do have that in the shadow, unfortunately. So if you do decide to display this in front and you don't really like that, because he has like a specific Batarang holding hand, you can just kind of cover it up a little bit. You know, just cover it. Don't worry about it. It's fine. And you can just kind of tilt the head to match the shadow or whatever. And then you have the Robin shadow, which doesn't really matter if you have the red one or the blue one, because shadows don't have colors. Anyways, yeah, it's very glossy plastic. So any bright lights, like my studio lights, are really going to reflect off of it. It kind of looks like it's snowing, which I kind of really like that effect. But if you don't have any of these super bright lights on, like let's see if I can kind of... Like turning these front lights on, I don't even know if that's enough. No, it's not really enough. If you don't really have a lot of bright lights on it, you don't really have that sparkle effect. So it's kind of up to you how you end up having this. It is pretty much hollow on the back. You can see all the kind of negative sculpting, I guess. Yeah, it's just kind of, you can tell the material. It's just, you know, kind of flimsy plastic. But it looks cool, and it's solid enough for the figures to stand on it. And we'll keep that in the back. So, we have Batman, and we have Robin. And let's talk about Robin first, because he's the one that people don't care about as much. So unfortunately, this is that old, like, DC superheroes kind of Batman toy line Robin. Not very articulated. He just has a swivel at the head, ball hinges at the shoulders, swivels at the forearms, nothing at the waist, swivels at the hips, hinges at the knees. That's your lot. Not really much at all. But unfortunately, it's one of the better-looking Dick Grayson Robins you can get. Of course, if you have like the red and green one, it's more classic. But I have metallic blue for whatever reason, because they decided to make that. So I did want to compare this with my red DCUC Tim Drake, just so you can kind of see right there. I mean, if you absolutely need to use this as your Dick Grayson, you can, if you don't want to use that super classic looking one. But unfortunately, 6-inch DC figures are dead, so you pretty much just have to work with what we've gotten. We have no hopes of ever getting anything new, at least for the time being. But yeah, a little bit of a comparison there. So yeah, he has metallic blue. He also has like a Batarang of sorts, rubber banded to his hand. I just kind of kept it there. It's very soft and flexible. But yeah, he's got like some silver highlights on his shoulders right there. A little silver on the buckle. Kind of silver highlights on the boots and everything. He does have a double colored cape, which is really appreciated. And unfortunately, with how it was packed, you have a little bit of a crinkle right there. And that's kind of like tucked in oddly. You have the Robin R. Head sculpt's kind of nice. It looks a little goofy doofy, but not too bad. But yeah, the metallic blue is absolutely mesmerizing, and I love it. I love the blue. The blue is amazing, and I love the blue. Did I mention it's blue? I love metallic blue. Metallic blue. I love, let's say, favorite shades and colors of blue. I love turquoise blue. Navy blue is my absolute favorite. Metallic blue is very nice. I kind of like royal blue. I don't like sky blue too much. But anyways, yeah, I love blue. That's my point. But yeah, blue Robin. Batman then. He has a massive cape. Massive, big, awesome cape. If you don't believe me, he can do the full Tim Burton, Batman, like, sprawled out cape. Like, look at this. He has a huge cape. His cape is massive. Did I mention he has a huge cape? Yeah, his cape is huge, but I love it. This is how every Batman cape should be. And, yeah, just the cape alone makes this one of the best 6-inch Batman figures I think you can get. I feel like this is just kind of flown under the radar for a lot of people. Like, not a lot of people really pay this one any mind because it's not super articulated, but it's articulated. One thing I want to compare it to is my go-to 6-inch Batman, the DCUC. I do like the DC Superhero Select sculpt, but it's a little odd to me, and I don't like the blue on that. But here's the DCUC. You can see it's the same size, so it can scale with DCUC. Proportions are a little different. Definitely kind of lankier, definitely smaller torso and everything, longer legs. But you know what? If you don't like the big barrel-chested look of the DCUC and the big broad shoulders, and you like the cloth cape and the darker gray and everything, and the pouch belt instead of the pellet belt, this might be something to consider. Because it is pretty decently articulated. Let's look at that right now. So the head is unfortunately just on a swivel. That's all you're going to get out of the head. The waist is actually on a ball joint. You can actually get some pretty decent range out of that. Shoulders are on ball hinges. Get those forward and all that. You have bicep swivels. You have an elbow bend, which goes in decently. I mean, if you compare it to the DCUC, it's not much worse. Because DCUC is pretty much a straight 90, and that's just a little less. You do have a glove swivel, and you also have a hinge in and out for the hand. So that one's actually really good if you want to like do. He's vibe checking you, oh no. But you also do have this hand, which can also hinge in and out. And it's holding a batarang, which you can remove, but it's very soft and flexible. Very kind of gummy. Feels like something you would accidentally chew one day. But yeah, you do have that. And then the legs is where it gets a little disappointing, but not too bad. Only swivels forward and back at the legs. No thigh swivel, but you do have a pretty decent knee bend, and you have an amazing ankle range. Absolutely amazing. So you can work with what you have. And I mean, with all that range, you can still get him in dynamic poses, but just not too dynamic. Like, say, probably one of the most dynamic I can get him in. Unfortunately, because of his head swivel, he's always kind of going to be looking at a bit of an angle. But I think this is a pretty, like, kind of get the cape adjusted, maybe get the cape over the arm there. I mean, you can get him in some pretty dynamic poses. Like, that's pretty cool looking. That gives me some Arkham City vibes. I like it. I mean, it doesn't hurt either that he has kind of the Arkham City sort of, stylings and colors. Yeah, I love this Batman. One issue I do have, though, if you do kind of put the cape over, like, say if you want him kind of concealing himself, which he has enough cape to do it. Like, he can do it. You might need to, like, use tape or something to kind of get it to stay. But it does kind of fold over there at the top, and it can look kind of ugly. You can kind of do that if you don't have it right. Yeah, you can have him concealing himself with his cape. You can see the batarang fell out. And if you're wondering how much of the cape will conceal his body, unfortunately you can see those folds again. But ignoring the folds, it will pretty much conceal his entire body. Like, you can have a fully, like, concealed Batman. And he kind of has, like, the longer ears, too, which I like. They're not as long as some others, but they're longer than, like, the DCUC, at least a little bit. And I kind of like a longer-eared Batman. So, yeah, this is a really good Batman. If I would redo my top 10 favorite Batman figures list, this guy would probably be on it, and the McFarlane Arkham Asylum would probably also be on it. That does kind of look nice, though, those folds. What do you think of those? Let me know in the comments if you kind of like those or not. I can kind of get used to them, but at the same time, they're not supposed to be there. It's kind of the limitation of cloth on a figure this small. One thing I haven't really talked about, though, with this guy is I haven't zoomed in yet. So the sculpt on the head's actually really good, but it's just kind of soft. Like, you can see the face and everything. It looks good, in my opinion. I guess, I don't know if that's a blemish or anything right there, but he does kind of have that. Almost looks like a little scar on his chin. He has really nice dry brushing of like a lighter gray on his suit. You can see that all throughout. Looks really good, man. It's really good. I love this Batman. I think this is... Oh, another burp. Get out of there, freaking hair. I thought I got rid of all the hairs. I washed my hands. But I guess it's still not enough. This is definitely a Batman to consider as, like, one to have on your DCUC shelf. I'm not even joking. Like, it's not perfect. But, like, if you have, like, say, the DC superheroes like Bane or Scarecrow or any of those older figures on your shelf, I mean, why not have an older Batman? Because, sure, it's not as posable as this Batman, but, I mean, the legs move more forward on this than on this. And, I mean, sure, he has, like, a thigh swivel, and he's just, he's good. The DCUC is really good. But this might actually become my Batman. Just putting Tim Drake Robin next to him. This might be my Batman. At least until the Mafex Hush one comes out, and then that will be my Batman. But, yeah, I love this Batman. This Batman alone is worth it to me. But also metallic blue Robin is nice, and I like blue. So, yeah, I mean, it's up to you if you like this Batman or not, or if it's kind of too old and dated for you, I also understand. But for me personally, I'm never the kind of collector looking for the newest, greatest, most superposable and articulated Batman. If it vibes with me, it vibes with me. And if it does, then it's my Batman. Even though the Hush Batman is like dark gray and like dark blue Batman, and I'm pretty sure we established that blue's my favorite color. And I love the Hush design, and that will be my go-to Batman. They picked my favorite Batman design, my favorite Batman colors, and they're making it a nice articulated figure. It's going to be my favorite. I mean, by default, it will be. But yeah, there we go. There's my review of this Batman Toys R Us exclusive Batman and Blue Robin 2-pack. I recommend it. I really do. If you're into 6-inch Batman stuff, and if you're kind of collecting 6-inch Batman figures, this is a must. This Batman is a must. I definitely prefer it over the Detective Batman from DC Superheroes. I'm thinking I might like it more than the DCUC. I don't know yet. It's really good. I really do like this Batman. One thing I didn't show, though, I want to show it. His back. I didn't show his back. The details even continue on there. It's really good, man. It's really good. I love it. His Batarang came out again. I might replace the Batarang because this is kind of really flippy-floopy. Like, look at that. It's so soft. You can fold it over. Oh, my gosh. But, yeah, I love this. I love this Batman. And the Robin is a nice blue bonus that appeals to my blue fascination, shall we say. Alrighty, guys, there we go. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Check my social media links, PO Box address, and frequently asked questions down in the description below. Have a good day, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.